So juicing, I think, is great for a lot of reasons. It's a good way, if you're already getting lots of whole fruits and vegetables in your diet, you can use juicing to even increase the amount of phytochemicals that you're getting. My problem with juicing is, first of all, if people take it to an extreme and they use it to replace meals, or you read on the internet about these juice fasting diets that people use to lose weight or whatever else. So in those situations, you're going to be missing out on a ton of important nutrients, like your omega-3 fats, protein, fiber, and that's my other bone I have to pick with juicing. With your juicer, basically you're taking out all the pulp and just getting the carbohydrate or the sugar out of your fruits and veggies. So you might think, vegetables especially don't have that much sugar, but when you're doing 17 carrots and 35 beets or whatever else you're putting in there, the amount of sugar that you're getting is quite a bit, and you don't have that fiber to slow down the blood sugar rush. And you don't have the fat to help you absorb some of those fat-soluble vitamins and cancer-fighting nutrients that are in there. So you're going to get a huge spike in your blood sugar, which as soon as your blood sugar levels fall, you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel weak, you're going to be cranky, and none of these are good things for the people around you, but especially for you to try to get through your cancer treatment and healing afterwards. So instead, we're going to do a fresh blended juice so that you're including some of the fiber that's naturally in your fruits and veggies. And the other thing is, if you're going to have a juice as kind of a snack or along with your meal, make sure that you incorporate a bit of protein as well, because again, we want to maintain our lean muscle mass. We want to give our muscles the food that they need to stay strong. And have it with a little bit of fat so that, again, you're slowing down that blood sugar rush. You're getting important nutrients that you'll need, and you're going to absorb all of those fat-soluble vitamins out of your fruits and veggies. The other thing is, if you're trying to lose weight, go heavier towards the vegetable side of things and add some fruit for sweetness. And the reverse is true. If you're trying to gain weight, you can make it mostly fruit, add some of your proteins, add some leafy greens as well. But again, you want to make sure that you're not just drinking sugar all day long.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So we're doing a smoothie. Nothing too complicated about it, but one little trick I want to show you at the beginning, which is great for dairy alternatives. So either if you have dairy intolerance, or if you just kind of, you don't want to use too much milk, you'd rather use, let's say, almond milk, or we're going to make oat milk, which is a really nice, cheap milk substitute, and it's very tasty as well. So very, very simple. What I have here are steel-cut oats. I'm going to put it down. There we go. We have steel-cut oats. My hands just naturally raise up. We have steel-cut oats. You can use just regular large flaked oats. I find it works a little bit better with the steel cut. And you don't need too much, about a cup or so. Soak them in cold water for about an hour. You can do the longer the better, but all you need is really about an hour. And just strain them very well. So remove all that water.
The oaty water.
The oaty water. And add them to your blender. Wow. And then to the blender, just add about 3 cups of water.
So this would be a great breakfast.
Mm-hmm. And that's all you have to do.
You're getting that fiber into your recipe.
If you want to sweeten it up a little bit, you can add a little bit of honey at this point. A little bit of vanilla extract is really nice. But that's all it takes. Oat water, but it's nice. It sounds better than... So that's it. Mix it up, puree. Do a little bit longer, just until it combines a little bit. And that's it. You get your oat milk, and this is what it looks like after. It looks like, milk, a nice dairy substitute. It'll last, for about 5 days in the fridge. You can use it for smoothies. You can use it for cereal, whatever you would use regular milk for. The oats, you're going to find, they're pretty pulverized. But if you don't like those little kind of gritty bits in there, you can just strain it through a strainer. I don't mind them. I'm not a...
It's like having pulp in your orange juice.
Yeah.
I think. It depends what your preference is.
Oaty pulp.
Oaty pulp. Now, I just want to be careful with using this as a dairy substitute. It's not going to have the same nutritional profile that milk has.
Right.
So it's not a complete protein. It doesn't contain calcium, and it's not fortified with vitamin D. So if you're going to make oat milk and use it as a replacement for the dairy in your diet, you want to make sure that you're getting your vitamin D, your calcium from somewhere else.
For sure. So we're going to start off with our harder ingredients first. We want them near the blades in the bottom. So I've got a little bit of cashews, raw, unsalted. That's going to give us a nice little creaminess. I like freezing my fruit ahead of time. I don't like adding ice to my smoothies or my drinks because it just dilutes it a little bit. So if you can freeze your fruit, it's tastes so much better. So I've got some grapes in there, and again, you can use whatever you want. We've got some kiwis frozen, bananas frozen. All right.
That's my other issue. I have to go on a rant now. So with the macrobiotic diet and the acid alkaline diet, they minimize tropical fruits. So you definitely, there's a bit of truth to that, but it's more about looking at the total diet. So if you're doing a lot of sweetened foods, you're doing a lot of simple sugars, berries, bananas, kiwis, basically any fruit, you want to go for variety because they all have different nutrients in them. And the sugar that they come with is packaged with fiber. So it's not going to have that big effect on your blood sugar. And it seems like the sugar-cancer connection is more connected to insulin or the insulin response. So if you have a big, you're taking in a lot of sugar, like if you just juiced all of this stuff on its own, then your blood sugar would go up, your insulin levels would skyrocket because the insulin actually shuttles the sugar out of your blood and into your cells for energy. And it's those elevated insulin levels that we think promote this environment that makes cancer grow. So you don't want to have simple sugars that have been refined, that have been stripped of the fiber. Having them with the fiber, you're not going to see these big spikes. It's going to be slowed down. And also by adding the protein that we're adding here with the cashews and the healthy fats, you're not going to see that.
So we're going to add our greens now. So a little bit of mint goes in there. This, again, is our own grown rainbow Swiss chard. So proud of. So that's going to go in there. We're just going to roughly chop it. The stem parts here, they probably won't blend too well, but these are delicious. So this would be great in that little package of vegetables that we did or any other kind of vegetable stir fry. So don't throw those stems away. But we're just looking for those leafy parts.
Chop those up and you can freeze them or put them in your fridge and just incorporate them into a nice salad. Mix them up with your barley or other whole grain.
We're going to add just a squeeze of lemon juice. So a little citrus in there.
So you can see this is really a balanced meal in a blender. Got a little bit of everything.
Maybe a couple scoops of yogurt.
Sounds like the title of a cookbook,
Balanced blenderized meals. So this is a good way to get some more fiber in your diet, especially with chewing or swallowing difficulties. I know people go towards the juices to try to get rid of some of that stuff and try to get more fruits and vegetables when it's really hard to eat them all. So we always recommend try to get at least 5 servings of whole fruits and vegetables as your baseline. And then if you want to add juicing on top of that to kind of boost beyond that, that's fine. But you really want those whole foods to get the fiber content and get that beautiful package like nature intended.
So curate.
Look at that gorgeous color.
And that's it. And I know the green might not look the most appetizing, but
I think it looks incredibly healthy and delicious.
really, really nice. And you won't even taste the chard and the veg. So don't be afraid of putting leafy greens in there because you're gonna have some of the fruit that's gonna sweeten it up a little bit. That's it. Super healthy, packed fruit smoothie, which is, in our opinion, a little bit better than juicing. So definitely try that one out.